Hey, welcome back to the Quarantined Practical Enthusiast Garage, where we're continuing work on the Project Hybrid Honda Civic. Now, in the last episode, we replaced the engine, put a new clutch in it, and made sure the car ran pretty well. But in this episode, we're going to start taking on some cosmetic problems, and by that I mean rust issues. This is going to be a few videos to accomplish all of these rust repairs, but this video, we're going to be tackling something in the rear wheel arches. Let's go take a look at it. The most obvious of all the rust issues on this car are right here in the rear wheel arches. This is pretty common for Honda Civics, really all Hondas of this era. And you can see it's just basically rotted out underneath this pinch weld and then onto the side of the panel there, right there where the bumper meets the metal piece. And I believe this is caused by water getting into the trunk. I can't say for sure, but I know there's water getting into this car's trunk, and it seems like that's what's causing it. Now, this same issue is present on the other side. And you can see this side's pretty much the same size of rust and probably the same exact cause. So my plan in this video is to literally cut out the metal here and weld in some fresh sheet metal. Now, I don't have any patch panels that are specifically designed to replace these sections. I'm just going to fabricate my own, and fingers crossed it'll just turn out looking decent. Now, if you followed my Project E30 repair series, you'll know that I went out and bought a MIG welder, and I went out and got lots of sheet metal to fix all the rust on that car. Well, thankfully, I still have my MIG welder and tons of extra sheet metal, so really repairing this Honda won't cost me a thing. At least that's the hope. It'll just take a little bit of time to actually cut out the old metal, trace up some new patch panels, and then get them welded into the car. Over here is all of the extra sheet metal I have left over from the Project E30. These are panels with various thicknesses. I think it ranges from 16 gauge all the way up to 22 gauge. So I'm not too concerned with matching the car's gauge steel perfectly. I just want to get something fresh put in there that's not rusty. So I think we have enough here to actually get all of the rust fixed on this car without having to go out and get anything new. And that's great because, again, we're under quarantine and just going out and getting stuff is not quite as simple as it once was. Now, before we start cutting any metal out and welding in some fresh metal, the first thing we need to do is disconnect all the batteries and critical electrical components from the car. That means the 12-volt battery in the engine bay, the hybrid battery behind the passenger seats, and then also the car's ECU, disconnect the connectors, and any sort of connectors that are going on in the IMA system. There's quite a few behind the passenger seat where the battery is. So that is step number one. Let's get to it. Let's check out all the things I disconnected. Starting off here under the dashboard, the car's main ECU. There's 4 plugs. They're pretty easy to remove. You just push down a little clip and kind of yank them out of there. Again, there's 4, and that is now the ECU isolated from the body of the car. While I was in here, I went and looked at the cabin air filters because I've not actually been in here yet. You just pull this cover off, and, well, let's see what they look like. That is looking well seasoned. That's probably about good 20 years worth of stuff stuck in there. Takes a long time to make an air filter look like that, so I think I'm just gonna put them back in. Oh yeah. Yeah, just kidding. All right. Also, I disconnected the 12-volt battery underneath the hood. That's pretty self-explanatory. And then the big one is back here, the IMA battery. So you got to be extremely careful working with this whole system because it is very high voltage. It can easily kill you. So I used some leather gloves to disconnect everything. I don't even know if leather gloves are rated correctly to prevent a shock, but it's better than nothing, that's for sure. So I put electrical tape over all of the main high voltage connectors just in case. I don't think there's any worry now that this has all been disconnected, but just it's better to be safe than sorry. So electrical tape on all things. Then I disconnected every single connector I could find back here. So these 3 up here, this large orange one down here, these 5 connectors down here, and then there's 2 lugs that I disconnected there. Then over here there are 3 more connectors I just disconnected. And now that I see it, there's 2 more connectors down here I should probably do as well, so I'll do those before I go any further. All right, so now that everything's been disconnected, it's time to get the wheels off and the rear bumper off so we can start cutting out that rusted metal. So let's get to it. Alright, so that's all of the trunk interior liners pulled out of the way and the bumper pulled off, and we get a better idea of what we're looking at here. So from in the inside on the passenger side, we can already see we've got quite a lot of rust coming through on this pinch weld right here. And then if we were able to see back in there, that's the corner by the wheel well. It's actually visible from the inside of the trunk. Now on the driver's side, we really can't see that area because this bracing panel bulkhead thing is in the way. So to start off, we're going to look at the driver's side area. And the first thing we're going to do is actually cut out this section that's rusted away, because we really need to see what the back side of that looks like, meaning the interior metal panel, and see how much of that we need to cut away before we can really start building everything back up. So step 1, let's cut this out of there. So we've cut away the outer layer, and you can now see the inner panel and how much it's kind of rusted away as well. So I think we're going to cut out this piece and basically build it back with some fresh metal. That way there's no rust left under here. All right, with the repair area pretty much well defined, we're going to now create a patch template out of a manila folder. Just kind of cut it to size, then transfer that over to some sheet metal, and then weld it into place. right, so that is that corner now finished. I put in some plug welds on the bottom to tie the outer skin to the inner skin, so this is now very strong. So now we've got to go do the other side, pretty much the exact same situation, so hopefully it'll go a little bit faster. Alright, so that is the passenger side all finished. Not too bad. Definitely did this side a lot faster since I knew kind of the steps needed. Pretty cool. Alright, so that wraps up this video, but it's not the last rust repair on this Honda Civic, no way. But there'll probably be about maybe 1 or 2 more videos specific to rust repairs on this car. So be on the lookout for those, as they should be out here pretty soon. As always, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you guys again next time.